Is Leonard Hamilton still?
Good evening. It is Tuesday, March 15th, and welcome to the Positional Sports Talk Show Post, live streaming on Facebook Live, Twitch, and our Positional Sports Talk Show YouTube channel. We are a sports talk show made for the fans, from the perspective of fans, presented by lifelong sports fans. Tonight, we will provide our opinions and positions on the hottest topics in sports. My name is Big Reg. I'm joined with three of my partners. I got J3 in the building. How you doing, J3?
What's up, bro? What's up, fellas? How y'all doing? Feeling great.
What's up,
J3? Let's get it in.
Big Ed is in the building. What's going on, brother? How you feeling?
Hey, man, I feel good. It's always to see you guys. I'm glad Professor J could join us from Dublin, Ireland today.
Pick up the Irish. Pick up the Irish.
So let's talk some sports.
And without further ado, Mr. St. Patrick himself, Professor J. What's going on, partner?
What's going on, fellas? Good to see y'all tonight, and Sense and Jay Wills in their absence. Man, I love you guys. I'm glad to be here. And yes, since the show won't be on St. Patty's Day, I thought I would rep for you guys and also wear my Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Yeah. All right, praise the Lord. Let's get it.
Let's get it. All right, this evening we're going to give you a real short, quick hits, do some NFL updates. I mean, this is supposed to be March Madness time, but the NFL said, I won't care nothing about that anymore. Got to talk March Madness, do a little bit of NBA updates, of course, our final post, and hopefully we'll see if the professor got anything special for us as far as the post takes. So as always, we appreciate you tuning in, so please sit back, relax, enjoy post on the Positional Sports Talk Show channel. Fellas, last week when we left the air, it was looking bleak, looking grim. Looked like the owners was going to continue to play hardball, and the players were going to continue to play hardball, and we weren't going to see baseball until maybe the summer. But the rank and file players overruled the MLBPA executive committee and told them to accept the owner's last offer. So MLB is back.
I do like that. I do like that the fact that a union figured out that the people make the union, not the executive committees. And I'm glad that they got together and said, hey, we need to play baseball. Plus, I did not want them to, because if they would have went, I think, another week in a lockout, it would have been impossible for them to squeeze in Jackie Robinson Day. So I knew I did not want that to be a complete failure. Now on the flip side, I'm one of those people that believe baseball shouldn't start until May or June, but that's just me.
Tell us why, Ed.
I think it's two. I think the season, is what, 162 games?
162, and they're going to play all 162.
I just think that's too long. I mean, look, baseball is one of those sports that I don't necessarily like watching on television, except in the fall, but I love going to the ballpark. It's just something about going to, like, down that stadium. We're in the DMV, obviously. They have a great stadium, great atmosphere. And I just like going down there. It's still affordable, relatively affordable, if you stay away from the alcoholic beverages. So yeah, it's just a nice atmosphere to be in. And I think that when I think of baseball, I think of the summer. I think of nice weather. Right. And in the Northeast, in Colorado, some of these other towns, Cleveland,
It could
Milwaukee.
be in the 30s.
It's just not an enjoyable time. So I'm, like I say, I'm glad that the lockout ended, and then we're going to get the season in. But I do wish I would have liked to see a shortened season. But I don't want to mess anybody's money up.
So the season will kick off April 7th officially. So anybody else got anything to add before we move to the next point?
Yeah, I'm just happy baseball is back. I mean, I love the boys of summer, is what they're called. And just like Ed being out in the ballpark, I love Nats Park, just being able to be there. And because we are looking like we're able to get back into some type of normalcy as far as being able to be at an open air ballpark, those are the things that I welcome these days. But I definitely want to see some ball playing. I'm hurt because already we got some injuries and the season hadn't even started yet. And y'all know how I feel about Fernando Tatis Jr. So that's already dampening my mood right now. But still, baseball is back. I think it's good for the players. So like we always say, let's play ball.
Tatis is lucky. He almost ended up being a Jay Williams. He got hurt on a motorcycle.
Wow. I don't know why they do this.
Me neither. Big Ben almost ended his life. That was his career, riding that motorcycle. I don't know why they do it either.
Because it's fun and exciting. If you're not a rider, you wouldn't understand.
Yeah, but when you got 20s and 30s and millions of dollars coming to you that you can mess up because you crash a motorcycle. Because as you said to me, it's not if you're going to crash, it's when you're going to crash. Because everybody crash.
Everybody going to taste the little concrete.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Asphalt.
You're not a real rider unless you go down once.
Uh-oh.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's move on to the Naomi Osaka incident at Indian Wells, the BNP Paribas Open. I felt a little conflicted on this because if you actually heard what the lady said, and it was just one person in the stadium who yelled out, "Naomi, you suck." That's exactly what she said. Nothing more, nothing less. But it was at a point where she could hear clearly that she wanted to stop play, asked to speak to the crowd. If she's in that kind of situation, fellas, I think Naomi needs to go back to taking a break because you can't play in a professional environment and not be able to deal with you suck. Let me hear what y'all thoughts are.
I believe that fans' conduct should be controlled, but at the same time, I definitely agree with you, Big Reg. As far as you're paying a lot of money, and even if you were paying 50 cents, you're a paying customer. So as long as you don't go overboard as far as personal insults, and we all know what goes over the line. You suck does not go over the line.
No.
Literally, it does not go over the line. But I don't know. Naomi's been on a trajectory of sensitivity for a while. I'll put it like that. And I don't know if she's ever really addressed the issues that may be plaguing her or following her. Some of those things have been unfairly. She has been unfairly targeted along the way. But at some point, she has to get control of herself. And I don't know if that's the case, as you laid it out. I think that's being a little too sensitive. I mean, there's no need to stop play and address the crowd over she sucks, you suck. I just don't think I think that's gone overboard.
I think she's definitely still dealing with some issues that she hasn't addressed yet. And it's taking its toll on her, just like you said, Ed. We all know when you play any type of sport, any type of professional sport, you're going to have critics, and they're going to heckle you. That's just part of the game. And so if you're not ready to deal with that, then maybe it's time for her to step aside again to get herself back together.
Yeah, you don't get critics playing at the park.
Yeah, anyway.
Right.
Yeah. I believe that she has gotten or started the stages of, getting the help that she needed for her mental health. But again, she plays a sport where there's always a tournament, there's always something to get involved in, and always money to be made. So I know she has a camp of people that are speaking in her ear and things of that nature. And maybe it is necessary for her to take more time off so that she's able to get herself in a mindset that's strong enough to be able to deal with stuff like "you suck" and other things that fans will say. I mean, if it's a situation where it becomes racist and things like that, yeah, by all means, act like LeBron James and tell people to come on over and get people up out of there.
Yeah.
But in that type of instance, you want to make sure that you don't let that person win, because clearly they said that in order to get inside of her head, so it would interrupt her play and take her completely off of her game. So in this instance, that person won.
Yep.
So she has to realize that now that people that don't like her saw this incident happen, they'll do it again and again, and then ramp it up and say some more harsher things in order for her to not win, because that's the whole point. So I know we spoke on this in length before when we touched on mental health wellness. I think she just needs to really examine herself. And if I'm in her camp, I put that in her ear. Maybe that wasn't such the best reaction to have. And if you can't control yourself in this situation, how are you going to go out here and win on a court where you're the one out there playing by yourself against an opponent, and now you just made the people in the stands feel like they got a bigger role in playing against you? So she might need to take some time off.
Yeah, and if it's that detrimental and she can't deal with that, she's accomplished more than most tennis players will ever accomplish in their career. She's won 3 Grand Slams. She's a multimillionaire. She doesn't need tennis. If it's going to bother you that much, then walk away.
Right.
Better to have yourself preserved than to keep dealing with people that hurt you. So,
because she's an artist too, she and her sister
entrepreneur
are doing graphic novels and other types of art. Yeah, she's multi-talented, man.
Yeah. All right, so let's get to what should have been a backstory this week, but became the monster that it has grown into, the NFL. They don't let anything survive anymore. They don't care. Monday, Thursday, Saturday, they don't care. March Madness, we could care less. We move our combine. We change our free agency period. We're going to run over everything. So the NFL's official league year starts tomorrow at 4 p.m. All the teams have to be under the new salary cap, which for 2022 is $208.2 million, which is an increase of $25.7 million over last year, which was lower because of COVID, but it's a $10 million increase over the 2020 cap number, if y'all remember, which was before the pandemic broke out. So it is definitely moving in the right direction. But what really set things off is the new quote-unquote legal tampering. Why don't you just say you can sign contracts 2 days early and stop playing games?
Yeah, it makes no sense.
They just trying to mask it, that's all.
So the legal tampering started yesterday at 4 p.m. And before it got going,
boom,
the man himself said, wait a minute.
Hold up. Wait a minute.
It's been 40 days. I had enough of retirement.
Isn't that something?
The GOAT is back. So, do y'all believe some of the backstory that's coming out tonight, that some people are saying that Brady was trying to use retirement as a way to get out of Tampa Bay and to San Francisco, but Tampa wasn't having it?
I don't believe that. I don't honestly believe that. I don't see that. I don't see that. Even though that's home for him, everyone, that's where he grew up in the Bay Area. I don't believe that story.
Me neither, because at this point in his career, if Brady wanted to be in San Francisco, I don't think he has to do any smoke screen. He can just say, look,
he just say,
I need to be right. Because let's be real.
Yes.
Let's be real. Even the commissioner would make sure something like that happened if he really wanted to do that. And they would make that happen. So, but my thing is, yeah, it might be home, but what does San Francisco have that Tampa Bay doesn't have that's better as far as the roster is concerned?
That's true.
So, I mean, he can get right back to another Super Bowl and compete. I mean, either way, it looked like he and Aaron Rodgers are set for another collision course with each other if that takes place. I mean, we got robbed of it a little bit this year, but maybe that's the course of action. So, no, I don't believe it either. I'm with Ed on that.
Hey, we're gonna get to you, BJ. We definitely gonna get to that. So Tom Brady sucks all the air out of your boy Aaron Rodgers, and then makes him look real bad because Brady can ready to play for his 23rd season. He actually gonna make $20 million.
That's a bargain,
man.
And then your boy today officially signed his contract, which he said all the reports last week were wrong. 3 years, $150.7 million. Fully guaranteed if he continues to play.
Look, Aaron Rodgers is he's not happy because
of course not.
when it came out that he was going to go back to Green Bay, that his time to shine literally only lasted maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours, because following that was the Russell Wilson announcement that everybody was like, oh, we're going to the other side of the room because this is what we really want to cover. You see what I'm saying? So then, Tom comes back because Aaron is like the king of the NFC, so to speak. And then Tom, well, no disrespect to Stafford and the Rams. Congratulations on the championship. But Aaron was like, okay, well, maybe I can do it again because literally all the quarterback talent, young talent,
it's in the AFC.
And I think Brady was looking at it, whereas like, wait a minute, hold up. I was a couple plays away from getting back to this, beating the champions.
Right.
I'm not worried about Aaron Rodgers. I can beat him anytime I want. I think it was a situation where he was like, there's a clear path to consider with health, got to consider health, but there was literally a clear path for him to get back to yet another Super Bowl.
Do you think Aaron Rodgers really wants to stay in Green Bay?
Well, here's what I would say.
Talk to me.
Think about it. He can't go to the AFC because his path to a championship, if that's what he's playing for, his path to a championship through the AFC is a gauntlet. I mean, the AFC West alone, we're not even talking about that, who I think is the best quarterback, that man in Buffalo. We're not even talking about him. So the path to the Super Bowl, then you got that young gun in Cincinnati. Do not.
Joe Burrows.
Are they going to rebuild? If they rebuild that line,
they've already started.
That's
That's
a challenge. Lamar sitting in Baltimore, if they rebuild their offensive line, they're right back into it. So
what about Trubisky?
We're gonna get into that in a minute.
You tried to derail him right there.
Yeah.
But I don't think Aaron Rodgers wanted to leave Green Bay.
He didn't want that smoke.
His best option is in Green Bay, whether he would love to admit it or not. He can't go to Denver because that was the rumor for almost a half a year. He was going to Denver. Russell shut that down.
So what about the Colts?
The Colts don't have a QB.
They don't have any. They don't. The Colts situation is really precarious because the Colts situation is really bad because they don't have any draft capital. They don't have. I think their first pick is around the 50-ish mark of the second round because they traded their first round pick this year
for Carson Wentz.
For Carson Wentz,
for the Commanders,
who they cut in 15 months worth of 15 months was enough for them to know that he was not going to make it. He was 27 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, give or take. Is that a bum?
Yeah. Well, since we brought it out, Indianapolis Colts, after 1 year and playing for his former offensive coordinator, now head coach, said enough's enough because the owner was done with him. Owner was through with him.
And I think that's what more. I think Irsay more than Frank Wright got him up out of Indianapolis.
Of course. Because Frank wanted them there.
I mean, look what Irsay is used to. He used to Peyton and Luck. I mean, he don't even touch that level of quarterback.
Yeah.
That's true.
Real talk.
But if you look at it, they don't have a quarterback. There's no plan in place. They have Sam Erlinger, former Texas quarterback, good career at Texas, but we wouldn't call him a traditional pro style quarterback.
Man, Colt McCoy was better than him.
Right, right. So they have no quarterback right now as we speak.
Maybe Jameis to Indy since all their other things. I think they
might back up the Brinks truck too.
There were two teams that I think really thought that they were going to get Watson. The Colts and Seattle.
No, Big Reg. The Colts don't have the Seattle maybe, but the Colts don't have the draft capital. And why would you trade him into to a end division squad? You'll have to play him twice a year. That narrative of him not being there, it would never disappear.
They inquired, and the Texans said, "Oh hell no." And Deshaun told Seattle, "Oh hell no."
Right. Well,
Deshaun turned down Seattle because the Texans were willing to talk to him. He was like, "I don't want to go to a team where QB just left because he was frustrated because he's playing in an antiquated offense with an old defensive-minded coach getting beat up." Yeah, that's a no. So
you think he's going to New Orleans?
Deshaun, it seems like the final three for Deshaun Watson right now are between Atlanta, New Orleans, and Carolina.
The issue is there's two. So this is a unique situation because both sides have power. The Texans management has the power because they want the most bang for their buck as far as a return. Deshaun has power, so to speak, because he has a no trade clause. But the Texans, I believe, ultimately have the power because they can say, well, check this out. We want to send you here. You have a no trade clause. If you don't waive that no trade clause, we paid you once, we'll pay you again. $35 million. People got to understand. $35 million, which they would have to pay Deshaun if he does not play this year again. It's not a lot of money to an NFL franchise. It's like $20 to the average person. So it's not like, okay, maybe $5,000 to the average person, but it's not like it's going to bankrupt their team. So Deshaun has to be careful as far as being too picky, so to speak, of where he goes next. And then Caserio, I can't remember the GM's
Nick
name.
Caserio,
Caserio has to be careful because he doesn't want to create a toxic situation that's already way past the point of toxic. So
Watson doesn't want to go to another bad organization. Right. That's the issue. And that's why I think Carolina's going to get eliminated.
Yeah,
because their coach is on the hot seat.
Yeah,
and they've got a owner that's a little rash sometimes. So you don't know what that situation is going to be.
And he might not have McCaffrey.
And his offensive line in Carolina is not New Orleans. I know New Orleans and Armstrong might be up out of there because of free agency, but they still have a pretty decent offensive line. So,
but the problem with New Orleans, all of them have problems. Problems with New Orleans is now you got a defensive-minded coach.
That's true.
Which is what he came from.
Yeah, that offense won't suffer.
So
any chance of him going out to San Francisco?
No. Nah, San Francisco interested in trading for him. They put too much draft capital in their number one pick. They gave up 3 number one picks to get the pick they got.
Talking about for
Lance.
Yeah. Trey Lance.
So they that's not happening.
I do like Atlanta though.
Atlanta seems like the right fit. You got a young offensive-minded head coach. You got a stable owner who got plenty of money.
Lord knows they need to get rid of Matty Ice.
He's from Georgia.
They got a good young tight end.
His numbers are still good, J3.
But they ain't winning.
But that's not his fault.
Yeah, I think Atlanta would be a good fit, but he might not want to play in his hometown.
Yeah, but you have to go. I think you're going to have to go to a situation as far as the organization. You got to go to a stable management team, and you got to go you got to go to a city that will. You got to go to a city that will be able to.
He gonna be with Lemon Pepper Lou. I mean, based on his situation, I'm sorry, Ed. Based on his situation, he don't need to go to Atlanta. No.
Yeah. That is a true story. Because
I don't know where you're gonna go then.
We stayed around.
I stand corrected. That's
true story.
No.
So we got ex-commander supporter on. Actually, we got 2 ex-commander supporters. So what y'all think about the Carson Wentz trade?
Man, that took me over the top.
Go ahead, J3.
That took me over the top, bro. I'm done with the Commanders. You will not hear me talk about them favorably anymore. I'm done. That was the worst thing they could have did was get Carson Wentz. Worst thing.
Why?
Because he's trash. That's why. He throw more interceptions than he throw touchdowns. I think he don't. I mean, he may need glasses. I don't know. You tell me.
I think Carson Wentz has 2 flaws because if you look what Frank Reich did to him last year with limited resources as far as receivers are concerned. Now he had the best run game because King Henry got hurt. He had the best running game in the NFL. Probably one of the best offensive lines in the NFL too. But if you look at Carson Wentz, his 2 major flaws are he's brittle, number 1, and I don't know if he can handle competition. And so those are major flaws in my opinion. He's brittle. He's not going to be there for 16 games 17 and beyond.
Yeah.
But the competition bothers me. And with Heineke behind him, don't laugh. But with Heineke behind him, who knows the offense, been here, knows all the receivers on the roster, he's a low risk free agent, cut free, low draft. So he's used to competition and proving himself. And Heineke, look, he had a few bad games against the better defenses in the NFL, but he also had several games where he was 70% plus percentage-wise completion rate. So he's one of the upper echelon backups. And Carson Wentz they have to be careful because I don't think Carson responds good to competition.
Yeah, because Foles just shook him.
Yeah, it's in his head. It's been in his head ever since. So did Jalen
Hurts.
Yeah, it's in his head. The good thing about this whole situation, and I'll let you finish up on the Commanders, is they can walk away after 1 year clean, no cap hit. So look at it as a 1 year test try. He can try to save his career or he can be out of the league. I think that's where he's at.
And J3, before you jump, I'm sorry, but J3, look, because we're dealing with a similar situation in Pittsburgh, but here's what you got to understand. What was the alternative out there as far as who wanted to come here, 1, and then number 2 is who could you acquire through free agency, who was much better? That's 2. And then if you really take a close look at this draft class, because this came down right around the combine or the completion of the combine, I guess. If you really, really take a close look at this quarterback class, I'm not really super impressed with everybody. Now, some of them may blossom. I think there's maybe some hidden gems. I like Derek Carr in this draft. I can identify 2 players that I think that might have an opportunity if they're developed right. But what the history behind the Commanders, what leads you to believe that they are capable of developing a quarterback from ground up?
Well, that was another thing that I was going to point out, Ed, is I don't care what quarterback you put back there until they work on that offensive line, it ain't gonna matter.
Well, that's
so
true.
Why go out and get somebody that's not, in my opinion, a stellar quarterback and put them in the same scenario that you didn't put the last 15 quarterbacks in, and you still haven't developed a line. It doesn't make any sense.
Professor. Yeah, I see it's killing you.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Since G Money is calling me out on this hot mic, let me just tell you guys. So I'm gonna say it here, like I said in our chat, for everybody to hear. I'm gonna put it on wax. The gentlemen that are on this show and in this room have more collective brain power than what's going on over in Washington. And let me tell you why. Yeah, I get it that you take a cap hit for 1 year, but this cap hit they couldn't afford, not on a quarterback that can't stay healthy, not on a quarterback who can't handle competition, as Ed eloquently just said, not on a quarterback who you don't know is going to make the right decision. We have an offensive line that needs to be rebuilt. We saw how he got trashed in Philadelphia when he didn't have an offensive line. Since his knee got hurt, he's shot, he's immobile. I know he tries, but that's not going to help in this division this year with Dallas, number one, licking their chops. And the Giants, for some reason, always has a great defensive game against Washington. So now you look at this team, and I can't really say Commanders either. You look at this team today, and you hamstring yourself not being able to make some additional moves to protect the quarterback. And then you already know that you need help on the defensive side. You just let a safety go that you didn't know how to use, and I guarantee you Landon Collins going to land somewhere, and he's going to look like he did when he was in New York, because these defensive gurus that we have don't seem to know how to use Chase Young, Montez Sweat. They can't get a linebacker to save their life. Why didn't they get all in on Bobby Wagner? Why nice. Wasn't that done? But you chasing Carson Wentz. Did you want to have the biggest news of the day going after a dude that's not going to get you anywhere? And I agree. Heineke is a serviceable quarterback. Let's not forget, when he makes decent decisions, he beat Tom Brady. So we talking about the Bucks and all of that. He did beat a Super Bowl caliber team and almost beat them the year they went to the Super Bowl. I'm not shining a Hall of Fame trophy for Heineke, but what I'm saying is he is serviceable enough to get you the same record that Carson Wentz gonna get you, because he's gonna be on the shelf for about 4 or 5 games because he's gonna get hurt, and you already know that. $30 million for this guy was insane when you knew you had other areas of your team that you needed to fill. If I'm Terry McLaurin, I'm like, once my contract is up, don't even come to me. Approach me for an extension. I'm done.
That's right.
I want to go somewhere where I know I'm going to work with a quality quarterback and I don't have to deal with this circus around here. And lastly, you talk about the draft class of this year. I would rather they roll the dice with Heineke, pick up Willis or Pickett, and then see what you got out of them. Because if they trash, then go after Bryce next year. I know you were Bryce in Pittsburgh, but all I'm saying is if they're terrible, pick up another quarterback next year in a class that's going to be better than this one. But the Commanders, man, since sitting on here, and I'm sorry, I'm about to be done. Since sitting on here, but I kind of feel like the team of my youth is dead. I'm looking at a different owner, a different regime, a different name, and this seems like an expansion team that I just don't want in my town anymore. Does Seattle still? Oh, I'm thinking basketball. What's a town that need a professional football team?
San Antonio.
Yeah, let's move them to San Antonio, and I'll take an expansion team to begin with. That's all I got.
Welcome to the dark side. So since we brought up Pittsburgh, and BJ asked earlier, Ed, what you think about your move? And I will tell you, he was planning on signing with Washington before they traded for their QB. He thought he was going to be playing in Washington. So what do you think about your very reasonable pick? He $14.25 million guaranteed only.
I think when I look at the roster, they had no options. This was the best move moving forward for this year.
Trubisky.
Now I will say yes. Now I will say this: the management needs to apologize to the fan base because of what happened 2 years ago. 3 years ago now, when Ben got hurt in 2019, and they saw the future and what it looked like with Rudolph, they should have immediately went on in planning the next phase, the next quarterback after Big Ben.
Right.
Amen.
They had an opportunity. They had an opportunity to draft Jalen Hurts, and they instead decided to draft a wide receiver out of Notre Dame who I love him. He's going to be good one. I think he has an opportunity to shine one day. But if you can't know when to throw him the ball, why do you have a receiver?
I agree.
So there's no need to draft a running back.
I agree.
You know, everything has an order. So Trubisky, look, on our roster right now, we have Dwayne Haskins, 311 lifetime as a starter. Now, again, he was mismanaged in Washington, and he had some maturity issues clearly in Washington, and so now he's learning the game. But I've criticized Tomlin. I just got done criticizing the GM a few seconds ago, management, as far as not having a succession plan after Ben. But they are smart enough to know what they currently have on the roster is trash. Because if they had confidence in Haskins, like we want him to, because I want him to succeed in this league. I do.
Right.
I want black quarterback. I'm not going to hide or sugarcoat it. I want to see black quarterbacks succeed in this league. And I thought he had a bad he came to a bad situation in Washington. So I want him to be good. But they've seen him for a year. They've seen him practice. And obviously they felt that they needed an upgrade. America has seen Rudolph play, so I don't even have to talk about that. But I think for now, it's about the best. BJ, I think it's about the best that they could do, considering they don't have the draft capital to do anything else. And again, like I said, this class, I mean, look, I watch college football, and the quarterback from Pitt, I don't want him. I don't. Yeah,
I'd rather have Ritter from Cincinnati.
Yeah, but I don't want Ritter at Cincinnati necessarily in the first round. I equate him to like a Derek Carr. You're going to pick him
second
up
or third round. Right
now, and if you develop him good, solid. But you know, small college program he came to, not small, but
that's wrong. That's wrong.
I mean, it's not a major,
not Power Five,
not Power Five, and so he might need some time to develop. Well, this team really, if you look at across the roster, they don't necessarily have time like that. I mean, you got Watt in his prime. The three best players are currently in their prime right now, and they're all on the defensive side of the football. No disrespect to Najee Harris.
Got you. All right, so before we get out on football, just real things. The Broncos are gearing up, and what they pulled off today, getting Randy Gregory, who had agreed to re-sign with Dallas, and then Dallas tried to put some language in the contract that they hadn't talked about and decided to sign with Gregory. That's going to help them on their defense end, because now they got somebody on the opposite of Bradley Chubb.
No, big Reg. That's the worst signing in this free agent signing period. You cannot have Randy Gregory, who has been suspended multiple times in seasons because of weed, for weed, go to a town where weed is legal.
Denver. I didn't think about that. I appreciate you bringing that.
I just see disaster written on. It's like when former wide receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Bartavis Bryant, went to Vegas Raiders. The Raiders in Vegas. You can't put someone who has been suspended multiple times for this particular drug in a city or a state that this thing is legal. You ain't heard from Brian yet, ever again.
I stand corrected. You're right about that.
I just don't think that's a good move. Talent is a good move, but we'll see. Time will tell.
But they also got a defensive tackle to replace the defensive tackle they sent to Seattle, and of course, picking up Russell. The Bengals make a move. The Bengals signed Pro Bowl guard from Tampa Bay, Alex Kappa, and then they signed center guard Ted Karras from the Pats. So they're trying to show up that middle. And if they don't use their first 2 draft picks on offensive linemen, everybody should be fired in the front office in Cincinnati.
See, Big Reg, this is what I'm talking about. And I mean this disrespect. When was the last time you seen Washington make smart moves with their roster? I mean, I wait.
Great question. Great question.
We always see other management making quality moves for their teams, in order for them to win. They don't make decisions that just leave you just scratching your head like, what are they doing? I just don't understand it. I don't understand it.
Lack of preparation.
And the team that's really gearing up, the LA Chargers, they pushed their chips all in. They saw what the Rams did and said, we follow.
Yeah,
we all in.
All in. Mm-hmm.
Trade for Matt. And what they traded, they had to give up a 4th and a 5th round pick for Khalil Mack.
Incredible.
Ain't that crazy?
To put on the other side of Joey Bosa. Then you signed J.C. Jackson, a quarterback.
Maryland's own.
Yeah.
And you already got one of the best safeties in the game as long as he stayed healthy, which he did most of last season. Yeah. So now you got the back end to go with the front end. Oh my goodness. And then they signed 2 defensive tackles. Yo, the AFC West is going to be murdered.
Yeah, a gauntlet.
I don't know how come New England let J.C. Jackson go.
Me neither.
I don't understand it, because if you look at that man, if you look
Money.
at that man's career,
Money.
Since he stepped on that field from University of Maryland College Park Terps, he has been a star.
Yeah. They said they knew he wouldn't react. They thought he wouldn't react well if they put the franchise tag on him, so that's why they just let him become a free agent.
Yeah, and we seeing that Belichick's way of doing things now, it's not going to win him any more Super Bowls. So he either going to have to adjust and start paying some players, or his dynasty is pretty much over. He might as well retire.
Speaking about franchise tags, just before we get out of here, did y'all hear that the Green Bay wide receiver, especially after seeing his boy get paid $50 million a year, said there's absolutely no way in heck Devontae Adams will be playing on a franchise tag. So pay me my money, I will not play.
What's the franchise tag for receivers this year?
$20 million for him.
Christian Kirk got $20 million. Exactly. Yeah. He's a bum.
Shoot. Don't forget, Washington was going to pay Coop $22 before he signed with Dallas.
Yeah, but Cooper's way better than Christian Kirk. Right?
I agree with that.
Oh my God. Look, they must be desperate down in Jacksonville.
Whew. They try and rebuild a solid team, man.
Oh my God.
Sheriff went down there.
But at least he got injury issues, major. Yeah. But at least he can. At least he's good when he
Jacksonville going to rob the bank, because they know that's a bad organization with very little chance to win, but go and rob the bank. All right, we went a little long on that, but we got to talk about the March Madness before we get out of here. Basically, for the men's, your number 1 seeds are Gonzaga in the West, Arizona in the South, Baylor, the defending champions, in the East, and Kansas in the Midwest. 2s are Duke, Villanova, Kentucky, and Auburn. Texas Tech, Tennessee, Purdue, and Midwest are your 3s, and Arkansas, Illinois, UCLA, and Providence are your 4 seeds. As I said last week, fellas, I think any of 20 teams can win this championship, because the only team that's been somewhat consistent, that looked like they were a strong team and most likely will probably get to the Final Four, has been Gonzaga. But if they run up to into a team that's got a bunch of older players, 5th-year seniors or something, they got some size to them, and they body up to the young fella, Gonzaga center, Gonzaga got a problem, because St. Mary's did that to them in their own conference and bullied them and beat them by 20. So I don't know who you like, but I just say my sleepers are UNC.
That's right.
Indiana University, the Richmond Spiders. I like Houston, and I like Colorado State to get to the Sweet 16.
I noticed you didn't mention Baylor. What's up with that?
Baylor ain't a sleeper. They're number 1 seed. They're not a sleeper. If Baylor had all their people healthy, Baylor would be the number 1 team in the nation. They lost 2 starters out of their team that aren't going to play anymore this year, and still ended up winning the Big 12 and losing in the finals of the tournament. So that's what I got for you. That's
I want to
all
hear
I
from
can get on
Ed
it.
because he over there writing up a storm. Let's go, Ed.
Well, I was doing look, I'm telling you now, I already got the championship game. I just don't know who's going to win it. But I got, okay, I'll go in the final four. I got Arizona, who historically, they a lot of times they underachieved. They haven't won anything since Mike Bibby. And what was it, Miles? Can't remember his name. But anyway, Arizona, Villanova on one side, Kansas and Auburn. And I do believe this is the year Gonzaga makes it to the Final Four. Now we'll see. And I got Kentucky. Kentucky. No one's talking about Kentucky. Now they are in the same bracket as Baylor. I will give you that. But old Calipari's been quiet this year. Normally he's not, and his team has come on as of late. I like Kentucky this year, but Villanova's going to win a championship.
Ooh. Wow,
Kentucky's got the best center in the country. Their center, which I think he's either junior or senior, which is unusual for Kentucky. He's an older guy. Hasn't been out rebounded in one game this year. He leads the nation in rebounding. He's had I think 8 to 10 games where he's had over 20 boards. A man. So I like that. Over on the women's side, overall number 1 seed is Miss Dawn Staley in the South Carolina Gamecock. Stanford, the defending national champions, who look really good. Got NC State, Louisville. Locally, the Maryland Lady Terps come in as the number 4 seed. You got Iowa, Texas, UConn. UConn's coming together real nicely, real late. They're getting healthy. And
Is
Baylor
UConn a 2 seed this year?
Yeah, UConn's a number 2 seed, and they put them in Bridgeport, which is basically home.
Oh my goodness!
With NC State, so NC State's probably going to have to beat UConn
in UConn.
Yeah,
in Connecticut
to make it to the Final Four.
Wow.
So I like South Carolina. I think unless they have a bad night shooting from the outside, I just think South Carolina just has too many athletes to not make it to the Final Four. I think Stanford makes it to the Final Four again because they basically brought back their whole team from last year. Didn't miss anybody. And I like UConn. I think Gino breaks the small streak. I think UConn gets healthy and cuts down the nets again.
But how healthy is UConn?
Paige Beckers has played the last 3 games she played. She's had 10 days to actually practice with the team so they can reincorporate everybody. They also had another freshman who got injured late in the season when they lost 2 of their games. So UConn's now 9 deep, which is unusual for their teams. They usually only play 6-7 people. They actually got 9 people that can actually ball. And all of them have played significant minutes this year. So they're going to be a problem. So enjoy the NCAA. Technically, they started at 7 o'clock today. The quote unquote first 4 for the men. They have 2 games tonight, 2 games tomorrow, and then what everybody thinks of the real tournament kicks off Thursday. The first 4 this year is the first year that they expanded the women's field to 68. So their first 4 starts tomorrow and Thursday, and then the women's field kicks off Friday. So the women play on Friday and Saturday, and then Sunday, Monday, the men Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Anybody else got anything to add? Any other picks on the women's side?
Nah, yeah, I covered it pretty much. I'm sticking with South Carolina to cut the nets, though.
Cool.
Well, how did Michigan in a mid-side get in with 17 wins and 14 losses?
It's Michigan.
Okay.
The Big Ten.
Right.
They're saying the Big Ten was the best conference in men's basketball this year. Actually, they're saying the Big Ten was in the top 2 conferences in both men and women this year.
Wow.
So
Pretty impressive.
let's get to this NBA. Fellas, things are heating up. I guess they done got over the NBA All-Star. They can see the finish line because brothers are balling. Did y'all see Cat drop 60 last night?
What got into him? Oh, I know. I know.
60. And then your boy KD dropped 50 a couple of times. LeBron done dropped 50. LeBron dropped 50 and had to take a day off.
Yeah, but
he dropped 50.
Yeah.
And he did it on the Wizards, too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Well,
Just disrespect.
Trey Young, Jason Tatum. I mean, all these guys just going off. So it's been fun. It's been fun watching.
Yeah, it looked good seeing the Joker take it to Embiid last night too. And get that victory. I love that game, boy. Every minute of it.
Thank you. I'm glad somebody. I try to have rational dialogue with people that's supposed to be on these sports things. And everybody saying, "Oh, Embiid's the definite MVP." I'm like, "How's Embiid the MVP?"
Joker got him last night.
Joker's top 10 in scoring, rebounding, assists, steals, and then the top 20 in blocks.
Right.
Can we admit something? Can we admit something?
Go ahead.
I like Embiid. I do. But he's not better than the Joker. I'm sorry. I know that might be that might be a little rough to hear, but
I don't like him, and you're correct. The Joker is better than him.
But I don't understand why people keep. It seems like the Joker. First of all, he won the MVP.
Doesn't look as good. He doesn't look. He barely jumps.
Dude,
he runs slow, and that makes it even bit better to me. He's a guy that's
look.
Big Reg Embiid should have fouled out at the beginning of the fourth quarter. There are several calls that the Joker put on that fool that he should have been out the game, especially the down the stretch, that circus shot he threw in. Embiid should have fouled out there. To me, they were bailing Embiid out. The Joker took it to him. Go ahead, Ed. Took it to him.
If you look at Embiid and what he had to work with it, now again, Philly has their own issues this year too. But Embiid, the second best player and the third best player on Denver's team, have pretty much been out. Jamal, knee issues.
The whole season.
Knee issues, right. What's the kid's
Porter
name?
Jr.
Porter Jr.
Been out most of the season.
Chronic back issues.
Yep.
And yet Denver is right there in the thick of things. So I just don't understand why people don't give the Joker his due.
Because most people don't watch Joker play,
but if
on a regular basis.
Like there's a lot of people I know I work with, I talk to who like sports, and they love looking at stats. I don't. I like to look into stats. But I don't base who I think is like the better players in any sport based solely on stats.
Right. Yeah. Stats can lie.
But if you want to be a stats guy, you can't ignore the Joker. You can't ignore him. If that's your criteria of good or the best, how can you ignore this young man? You can't.
He's got the highest PER, which is player efficiency rating in the NBA.
DJ, the rule is clear about that. He was allowed to gather himself. He did not travel. I mean, and they talked about it on the broadcast. He's allowed to gather himself, then take 2 steps. He didn't travel.
But in all fairness, BJ and Professor, we can't start criticizing NBA stars that walk.
Yeah, because most of them do.
Yeah.
Right.
Because, I mean, come on now.
The other big news for the NBA is Draymond returned to the Warriors.
Against the Wizards.
And that team looked totally different. I understand it was against the Wizards, but Draymond makes that team go. And if his back can hold up, he's going to be a problem.
That's true.
For Professor's Milwaukee Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
They got their center back last night.
Lopez.
Man, I look at the Bucks. I think they're just like we
They
know
on
how to.
cruise control, right?
Yeah, we know what to do.
BJ, what you got, BJ?
Yeah. So it's gonna be crazy, the playoffs this year, and we will get more into the NBA since the NFL hopefully will give us a break until the draft after this week. It is getting late. Professor, I don't know if you had anything for us tonight. We got some time if you do.
I do.
Fantastic.
All right. Yeah, y'all know how it is when I take some time off. I got to come back and give y'all some flavor. All right, so we going to get right into it. Here's your post takes for this week, everybody. And it's entitled 99 Problems, but a Lockout Ain't One. So let's look at baseball because there's some rule changes and some understandings that we need to make sure people have going into the new season. So after 99 days of lockout, we are back to play ball. Spring training games begin on St. Patty's Day on the 17th, and the regular season games will begin on April 7th. So doubleheaders will be played at the beginning of the season to catch up on any missed games from the beginning of the season. The designated hitter, y'all, is back in the NL. So look for that to be a staple that will not go away anytime soon. It was one of the things that both sides agreed on. No more runners, because I hated this. No more runners to begin extra innings on second base. Yeah. So you have to earn your victories, and I love it. Because when you go to the games, I always thought that was kind of cheap to just start a guy out on second, right? Then you can do the sack fly. I mean, it gives you more offensive areas to jump in the game, like sack flies, bunts, and all of that. But I like when those extra innings are electrifying and people earn their victories, all right? The next we have the playoffs will add 2 more teams to expand to 12 teams out of 30, beginning this season. A player can be optioned to the minor leagues no more than 5 times in one season. Expect advertising now on the helmets and on the jerseys. All right. So they're going to start that. The NBA ushered that in, and I didn't think it would work well, but it actually works pretty well. I mean, we know soccer is the king of doing that, but now Major League Baseball will do the same. Here's the big ones. These are the money ones. The competitive balance tax or luxury tax, as we know it, those thresholds, they will grow from 230 million to 244 million over the course of the deal. Now, was great. That's why I tell you kids to play baseball. You have to play football, hockey, worry about concussions and stuff. The minimum salary for players with less than 3 years in the majors goes from $570,500 to $700,000 annually, and will increase $20,000 a year to the point of $780,000. So years 1 to 3, y'all, your folks, if they play baseball, will make upwards to $780,000, according to the CBA. In order to discourage teams from tanking, there will now be a draft lottery. Thank you, NBA, for the top 6 picks in the amateur draft, which will now be, get this, 20 rounds. So I like that because now there's some insurance against tanking. They borrowed some from the NBA to say, okay, if you all wanted to tank and look terrible, you still not guaranteed that top pick. We're going to throw y'all all into a lottery and make the best loser win and get their top pick that year. So I like these changes in baseball. I'm glad they're coming back. I'm glad we were able to get this done because it was really hurting the fans more than anything. These are your post takes for this week. Back to you.
Hey, Professor, I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Is there anywhere in that new collective bargaining agreement that eliminated that farce of an all-star rule that whoever wins the all-star game gets the home field advantage in the World Series? That's horrible. That's what they should have got rid of.
Oh, you are funny.
That's still in play. Their reason is they believe that it creates the competitive balance that you want in order to make the game more exciting.
Yeah, they don't want the All-Star game becoming the NFL Pro Bowl.
Right.
Right. Yeah, but the difference in baseball is the likelihood of you getting a concussion or a torn ACL playing an all-star game in baseball is a lot less, I think, than a contact sport like a blood sport like football is. So I don't know. I just don't think I don't. It's an exhibition game, fellas.
I hear you. All right, well, it's time for us to get out of here, fellas. Time for our final post. J3, why don't you start us out, brother?
Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to my little cousin Daria Somerville, who represents a 2-letter sport, soccer and track for Bishop McNamara. She's a senior this year, and she's looking to go to college next year. So shout out to you, cuz.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Ed, you up.
Man, I want to give a shout out to my beautiful fiance who puts up with me coming straight home, jumping in the shower and getting on this show and allowing me to do what I love to do, see you guys and talk sports. Thank you, honey.
Thank you. Professor.
Yeah, and in the same vein of both of these brothers, I'm gonna give a shout out to my wife and my daughter, because with a new baby girl, it's hard to get online. Jay Wills, I feel your pain, brother. So when we're able to get on, I'm very thankful. And yes, I did ask wifey, is it okay if I jump on tonight? Hey, true story. And I want to give congratulations to my younger sister, Deanna. She got graduated with a white coat ceremony out of medical school. So we're looking forward to her, continuing on when she returns home in the area in a hospital near you. So God bless you.
And no hookups. You got to pay your copay.
That's right.
How about that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, she's going to be a pediatrician, y'all. So bring your kids.
Congratulations. I just like to say to all the basketball fans out there, it's your time of year.
It's your time.
Tournament time is this week. The best days to watch the tourney, if you're so lucky that you can be home Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the first week of the tourney, to see the madness of all men's and women's, and Monday.
I'm gonna do mine tonight, Ed.
It's beautiful. And NBA, they're gearing up for the playoff push. So NBA basketball has been very competitive. And it was good to see Joel Embiid and the Joker go back and forth at each other, but really have respect for each other and the way they talked about each other. So it's good to see that. So basketball fans, it's your time of year. Enjoy. All right. We'd like to thank you all for tuning in and listening. We appreciate your time and opportunity to share our positions on sports with you. We're here each and every Tuesday, 7 p.m., same bat time, same bat channel. Please check out the live show. We really appreciate our fans chiming in. If you check out the live show, you can send us messages and we'll try to respond if possible. We appreciate all of our regular listeners. Y'all know who you are. Y'all are near and dear to us, and we appreciate the support. If for some reason you can't catch the live show, you got 2 opportunities to catch our shows. You can tune into our YouTube channel or our Facebook page, Positions on Sports Talk Show. Just search it, find the shows. Or if you prefer the podcast platform, go to your favorite podcast platform, put in the same information, Position on Sports Talk Show. We upload the shows there. You can find us there. You got plenty of content to dig through. So enjoy yourself. Please reach out. Let us know what you think. And if you go to any of those avenues, please like and subscribe. Subscriptions are free. We greatly appreciate the support. All right, fellas. It's another week in the books. Next week, we get to talk about the tourney. Hopefully no more football, NFL, and just basketball.
Amen.
We'll see you next week. Y'all be safe out there, and always remember, we're still in a pandemic.
Please be responsible on St. Patty's Day. Please.
Amen. See you.
God bless.